Do you believe in God? Let's find out. Ahoy, and welcome to another Thumbs 5. For the last few episodes, we've been looking at the philosophy of God. We've been looking at proofs that have been presented for God. We've criticised those proofs. We then looked at reasons why people typically believe in God. All of these videos have had some fairly good comments, so I welcome any viewers to go down and have a look in the comments and see what criticisms people have had, both for and against. In today's video, we're going to be looking at barriers to belief in God, i.e. reasons why it makes it hard to believe in God. But I believe in God. Why would you try and fuck with that? As I've stated before, and I'll state again, I am not interested in converting anyone to atheism or from atheism or anything like that. But I don't believe in God. Why are you trying to mess with my mind, man? All I'm doing is putting information in front of you that you can decide what you want to do with it. Everything that I am presenting to you is documented somewhere, whether it be in philosophy or in theology, and it's something you can easily research on the internet to get more information about. And if you find any of these things interesting, I really suggest you do that. So today, in our final episode on philosophy of God, we're going to be looking at a lot of the ideas that have been in those first 3 videos. So I'm going to be making references to those videos or ideas within those videos, and the links are going to be down in the description or at the end of the video. But just in case you want to open them up now, I'm just going to quickly link them. So here is the original proof of God, and here is the disproof of God, and here is the reasons to believe. Okay, so if you just want to have them open or you want to watch them beforehand, go for it. But it's time now for me to crack on with this week's 5. Number 1, leap of faith. To explain this one best, we just need to take a simple proof. For example, let's say I'm a Christian, and for me, proof of God comes from the design argument. Even though we feel we can prove a designer, I have made a leap of faith from there being a designer to Jesus dying on the cross, being resurrected, being divine and the Son of God. Maybe there might be a supreme being capable of such a design, but that does not necessarily equate to Jesus. In order to reach the point of being Christian from the design argument, I must make a leap of faith. Big leap. Let me give you a different example. I see ghosts, and I assume that a spirit is my soul, and that is what is written about in the scriptures. To go from spirits and seeing ghosts to Jesus having died on the cross and being resurrected and being the Son of God. That is a very big leap of faith. To take this evidence over here and make it justify these facts over here, which they aren't directly related to. That is the leap of faith we're talking about. That leap, for some people, is just too big. For others, it's quite natural. Number 2, the problem of evil. In the philosophy of God, the problem of evil is a very significant problem because in most scriptures, God or gods are in some way considered to be benevolent or all good, but I want to be good. The biggest problem that we have with this is that evil exists everywhere. Well, then I've got to be evil. And evil exists in the most sinister of forms, whether it be through genocide, like the Holocaust, where one group of people persecute another group of people, or through the terrorism, bombings, general war that's going on all over the world. The line between good and evil seems very, very blurred. But I want to be good! And the problem we have is that any god that would be considered to be benevolent or all good, and also all powerful, must have the ability to get rid of evil altogether. And being all good would do so. Now there are certain criticisms to this idea, i.e. the idea of saintliness, and the idea that only with the presence of evil can good exist. Yes, but you can't be good without evil. It still does not undo the problem. If God is all-powerful and all good, then God would not allow evil to exist in our reality. No, but I can't be evil, you have to be good. Oh. This causes a lot of problems for a lot of believers. Number 3, what God? As when we saw miracles, we saw the problem of religions cancelling each other out. For example, I'll just look at a first cause argument, a design argument, even the ontological argument. What does it prove? There's a supreme being, there's a creator, that there is some massively all-powerful being? Okay, great. Which one is it? Is it Shiva? Is it the Lord God Almighty? What God was that? Is it Jesus Christ? Is it Odin? Is it the flying spaghetti monster? Yeah, what God you playing at? Hey. You can apply the what God question to so many proofs of God. Quite often, people who move away from theism and active practicing religious people is because they've discovered or they've come to the understanding that there are so many other religions out there, and how do I know that my one is right? It comes down to you and your faith. What God do you believe in? You have to make that judgment for yourself. Number 4, properties of God. Now, it's good to hark back to our disproof of the ontological argument and Immanuel Kant's perspective that existence is not a property. When we look at God, what do we say? We say he's all powerful, we say he's all good, we say he's all knowing, we say he's all seeing. Another property that comes up every now and again is all living. Is that in some way to define existence as a property? I like to imagine God as an ice figure skater dancing my life story. There's loads of properties that are given to God. But in order to be able to justify those properties, in order to be able to come to the conclusion that Jesus was the Son of God, you would need evidence for every single one of those things. I like to picture God as my cup of coffee. God. Yeah. God is black. If you was to add milk to God, then he becomes quite creamy. You cannot simply assume a God is all these other properties without finding evidence for the properties of God. You can add sugar to God to make him sweet. And one of the reasons why people would not believe is because they start to realize that the properties of their God cannot be explained reasonably. Number 5, the Matrix principle. Okay, so we've all seen the movie The Matrix, and if you haven't, go and watch it. Warner Brothers movie, really good movie, yeah.
How can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it.
Oh, really? That movie is about a lot of things. One of the things it's very much about is philosophy.
You're here to try to understand why you made it.
Well, okay, you're just confusing me, aren't you? Philosophers have now presupposed this question, but when you look at a designer, the immediate response by many theists is to move to a position of saying there is a all-seeing, all-knowing, benevolent Jesus Christ, Buddha, Krishna, etc. The argument is design or whatever proof for God you have leads to religion. Well, actually, when you look at probabilities, it's much more likely that we're just in a matrix and we ourselves are just computer programs.
Are there other programs like you?
Oh, well, not like me, but...
Let me explain. Right now we have technology where we create virtual worlds. Our technology is really useless. As our technology gets better, how easy is it to come to the conclusion that we eventually will be able to create little virtual galaxies and put little virtual people in there going about a very deterministic way of life? We might call it a simulation. It is much more likely to see that happening than it is for there to be a God. Let's say a little child has got a little game, and the game is press it, starts a galaxy, and that simulates a whole world of little people running around, procreating, doing all of the things they're programmed to do. And you can interact with it however you want as some form of deity or not. You just leave it running or whatever. If there's one child who's got that game, then isn't it possible to assume that there's 1,000 or 1,000,000 children that have got that game? If we're already in one of those games and we create them, then within the game that we create, other people, and it goes on for infinity. Meaning that, yeah, there is one big reality somewhere that is the real world, in theory, but we have no connection to it, not a real connection to it, because our real world is the world we exist in, and we are but programs. Now, you may or may not agree with that or believe in that, but that probability is much more likely than there being a supreme being or a designer. For a lot of theists, when they're presented with this argument, they become very angry and annoyed. But you cannot undo this theory. No, I'm not saying that this theory is right. I'm not saying that being a theist is right either. But it is a theory. And it is as much a conclusive theory, if not even more probable, than that of a supreme being. Yeah, but on a side note, don't we all kind of wish we were Neo a little bit? You know, like flying around and, you know, being rock hard, bit of kung fu. Ooh.
The Oracle has many enemies. I had to be sure.
Of what?
That you are the one.
Could have just asked.
No, you do not truly know someone until you fight them.
I do kung fu. Well, thanks for watching that one, guys. That's the final one in the philosophy of God. You'll be glad to know, or maybe I'm glad to know, there's more philosophy coming. Obviously, especially when you look at the Matrix argument, you see that there is now a movement towards other questions. What is determinism? What is free will? How do you know what you know is what you know? There's so many questions that philosophy asks that every single person should really be asking of themselves much more frequently. So I'm now going to start a new mini-series in a different branch of philosophy. I'm not going to tell you which one until next week though, so you're just going to have to subscribe to find out. Oh yeah. Anyway, if you want to catch up on any of those other videos, the proof of God I'll put up here, the disproof of God I'll put up here, and then the reasons to believe I'll put down here. Now you can't see me on the screen anymore, that's really good. I've just got enough time to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
But for what it's worth, you've made a believer out of me. Good luck, kiddo.
If you're wanting more of crazy vibe, then go ahead and hit subscribe.